Hello everyone, it's a Thursday in Paris, and that means you've got an episode of the Eiffel Tower that's brought to you by Fat Tire Tours. Now, this whole episode was recorded, except for this introduction here, this whole episode was recorded at Versailles, and I figure I did this very same thing with Giovanni, and it was a bit of a gamble doing the whole episode out in the field, in the cheese shops, buying croissants and all that kind of stuff. But I figured the response was really good. I'd try it again, but this time I'd give it a little bit more of a clean intro just so that you guys know what to expect. This is an episode of me, my wife, Lena, going out to the Palace of Versailles. Very specifically, we were doing this with Fat Tire Tours, and just so you know what to look for if you want to do the exact same trip, it's the Sunset Versailles bike tour with fireworks. It will be linked in the show notes if you want to find it exactly. It's likely to sell out. These are all the practical information first. It's likely to sell out, and the reason for that is they only do the fireworks every Saturday throughout the summer. So they're very popular. I'm encouraging you to go check it out because it's really fun. But remember, if you want to get 10% off this tour, which sells for 129 euros, you have to put in the code word EARFUL at the checkout, EARFUL. Now, first a little bit of facts about Versailles, but this episode, it's going to be me and Lena sort of showing what we see, spliced in with a few chats with the tour guide, Thomas, a wonderful guy, really nice French guy, speaks excellent English, by the way, and he really knew his stuff. So I think you'll figure it out as we go along. But I figured maybe there's a chance you've never heard of the Palace of Versailles, so I'll give you the 30-second introduction. The Palace of Versailles, in French they call it the Chateau de Versailles. It's one of the most popular day trips out of the city of Paris. A really, really popular tourist attraction. A lot of people usually there, and it used to be the principal royal residence of France from 1682 until the start of the French Revolution in 1789, and it's about 20 kilometers or 12 miles southwest of the center of Paris. Is that enough facts for you? Good. Let's jump into it. You're going to start hearing from me and Lena out on the field, out on the scene, and I hope that you feel like you're out in Versailles with us. Enjoy. Eiffel Tower listeners, you're in for something a bit different once again today. I am in Versailles right now with lovely Lena by my side.
Bonjour.
And we happen to be walking right through the heart of a food market.
Yes.
To paint a little picture, on my left I see chickens.
Raw turkeys.
Are they turkeys?
Oh, chickens.
Definitely
Birds.
chicken. There's a black chicken. There's quails, I see crabs, I see all kinds of seafood. You guys can probably imagine it, and we're in the center of Versailles. What I should say is we're about to do a tour, kind of an interesting tour, a sunset tour of Versailles. There's going to be fireworks, there's going to be fountains, and we were invited by Fat Tire Tours. That's Fatire Tours. Check them out online. You can even check out the tour that we're doing. And if you are an Eiffel Tower listener, if you've listened this far already, you can get 10% off all of their bike tours.
I just bumped into a lady. Sorry.
Did you?
Yeah.
You can get 10% off all the bike tours if you use the code EARFUL, EARFUL. Now we're talking about Versailles. Whoa, now we're out in the streets. Let's go back into that covered market across the way. We're walking and talking. It's a bit of a walk show. The idea for today is that everyone's just gone and got food from the markets. We've got some bread already.
We got some bread, yes.
Some
beautiful baguette that I'm actually eating right now, which is bad for the picnic.
Well, I thought that, that's the thing. We're going to do a picnic along the Grand Canal. And the idea, listeners, is we're going to take you along all the way, interviewing people, sort of telling the story. I can't really predict what we're going to get.
I'm excited.
By the way, that noise is a meat cleaver chopping a cow up. As we walk past the second
graphic
cheese shop. Anyway, we're going to get into the Fat Tire Tour in a second. They're the sponsor of the show. Check them out. But before we even get to the grounds of Versailles, Lena, I asked you once again to come armed with a fact about Versailles or the palace or something.
Yeah.
Have you managed?
I am ready.
Okay, do you want to go
ready?
First or second?
I can start. Why not?
All right, let's hear it.
Okay, so my fact
We've stopped walking by a fruit shop.
Yeah.
Shall we continue?
Actually, I've seen some beautiful cherries over there that I might have to pick up.
Okay, well, let's do the
on.
facts and then we can grab some cherries.
Yeah, good idea. So my fact is as follows. Did you know that Marie Antoinette, the famous Marie Antoinette, owned over 500 pairs of shoes? And recently, just a couple of years ago, one pair of her shoes got sold at a Paris auction. And they estimated the price to around 6 to 12,000 euros, I think. It's sold for about 65,000 euros.
Whoa! And
That's like a down payment on an apartment.
Yeah. Imagine what happened with the other 499 of her shoes.
I know.
And so they also sold some
Hidden
of her
treasure.
jewelry recently. And the reason you bring it up is she lived in Versailles.
Exactly.
Which ties in nicely to my fact.
All right.
If you like looking through windows,
Yeah.
right? And you wanted to, for some reason...
You creep.
If you wanted, for some reason, to look through every window in the Palace of Versailles,
Yeah.
do you know how long that would take?
No.
It would take 6 weeks. A month and a half.
How? What? How? What do you base that on?
Well, a window experience...
Yeah.
There's the butcher again. A window experience is obviously 30 seconds per window to really appreciate...
Really?
Yeah, 30 seconds.
Okay.
And there's 2,000 windows in Versailles.
Wow.
So there you go, guys. You can use that fact if you want.
That's crazy. Do you hear that, Mom? 2,000. So my parents...
Are you talking to your mum?
Yes, I am actually. My parents recently got... they're renovating a house and she is renovating all the windows by herself. And she counted 47 windows. So she thought that was a lot. This is more.
47 windows. That's half an hour of...
Window looking?
Yeah. Anyway, guys,
Window peeping?
we're going to buy some cherries, buy some cheese, and buy some bread. And then we'll
Yes.
check back with you from the castle, I think.
Perfect.
Bonjour. Est-ce qu'on peut prendre de comté et de chèvre? C'est pour un pique-nique pour 2 personnes.
Ça va, oui, un peu moins. Merci. Et dis ce qu'il qu'on va. Merci. C'est moi.
Merci, au revoir.
Bonne journée, au revoir, messieurs, dames.
Bon week-end.
Merci également. Au revoir. Au revoir.
Lena's about to buy the cherries. Do you know how to say cherries in French?
Cerise.
Okay.
Ah, bonjour. Ça fait combien pour une barquette de cerises?
C'est 500 grammes, je vais vous donner le prix.
Ok, merci.
What did you say? Combien pour un?
Barquette de cerises.
Is that the word for punnet?
17,40.
17 euros for cherries. That's
Si vous
expensive.
voulez, vous avez d'autres cerises là-bas où il y a 10 euros la barquette et 15 euros la barquette.
Ok, merci.
Ok.
Voilà.
Mais c'est quoi la différence entre...
Alors là-bas, les cerises sont plus grosses.
Ah, ok.
Voilà, elles vont être plus charnues. Ça, c'est la même variété, mais ça va pas être la même taille.
The smaller the cherries, the cheaper they are.
The sweeter the taste.
Okay. I don't know. What do you want?
Vous voulez goûter
Euh,
Allez-y, hein, si vous voulez goûter.
oui,
Ok.
oui, merci.
Merci. Merci beaucoup. Just tasting the cherries here.
These are good. They're really good.
Take a small punnet.
Oui, on prend une petite. Merci.
Merci beaucoup. Au revoir. Okay, so Thomas.
Yeah.
Thomas, French name.
French name, yeah.
But you spell it with the H, right?
With the H, yeah.
T-H-O-M-A-S.
So, Thomas, I guess.
Thomas,
Yeah.
right. So we're on the way to Versailles, and
Yeah.
I figured you know a lot better than me this town and the palace.
Yeah.
Maybe you could explain a little bit, like an overview about what we're going to see. What is this? A palace? A castle?
So yeah, first of all, that's a good thing. Most people think Versailles is just a palace. It's actually a town. It's actually a town. Yeah, it's a town because any palace, any castle, they need a town to sustain the life of the castle, right? So when you go to Versailles, you're actually going to a town. Versailles, the biggest mistake that people make, they think Versailles is the biggest palace in the world. It's not the biggest palace in the world. No, it's the biggest royal grounds in the world. So it's a palace with gardens, and surrounding the gardens, 2,000 acres of grounds with a Grand Canal, with some parts that look like forest, and 2 little palaces on the side of the main one called the Trianons.
Right.
When you go to Versailles, as soon as you arrive, you exit the train station, have a look at the map, and you'll could see how big the place is, because those royal grounds take for half of the city.
Okay, well, half of the city of Versailles.
Half of the city of Versailles. Versailles is a small city. It's about 80,000 people living there, but the grounds are the main thing. It's
Right.
huge.
And what about, you're a Frenchman.
Yeah.
Does Trianon mean something?
It's the name of a village, Trianon. Yeah, the historians debate on the origin of the words, but it's a village, really. So there was a village in the way of the extension of Versailles, and as Louis XIV, the king who started Versailles, as the royal palace that we know now, is extending Versailles. He found that this village is in the way of the extension or the expansion of Versailles, of the palace itself. Right. So he's going to buy the village and level the entire thing so he can just add more things in his big grounds.
So I got 2 more questions before we get out there. One is, there's a lot of talk about Louis,
Yeah.
a lot of kings. And this is a tough question, I understand.
All right.
But can you dumb it right down?
Yeah, all right.
What
So,
kings do I need to care about?
so we have a lot of kings, honestly. I'm a tour guide. I still don't know all of the kings,
Right.
honestly. But the Louis are the most important. If you have to remember 3 kings, remember Louis XIV, 15, and 16. And I'm going to break it down to you. There's a very easy way to remember them. Louis XIV was the Sun King.
Yes, I've
Louis
heard that.
XV
Yeah.
is a party dude, so he was the fun king.
Okay.
And Louis XVI, you might know his life didn't end well. You know, he had his head chopped off, so we call him the Don King. So there you go, Sun, Fun, Don. That's all you need to know.
Right, we should one day you and I will sit down with a beer and try and rhyme all the rest of the kings.
Yeah, well, they all have nicknames, you know. One was even called the Spider. Louis
yeah?
the 11th was called the Spider.
That was his 8 legs, wasn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. And he was kind of taking France like a spider web, pretty much.
Okay, I said I had one more question before we get out there. Is there a big mistake that people make when they get out here?
So the big mistake that they do, there's actually 2. The first one is to just stick to the palace. You'll see people just going in the palace, getting stuck in there, maybe spending a bit of time in the gardens, but that's it. Not going to see everything. You have to consider Versailles as a full day trip, really. So go and explore everything. The Trianons, the gardens, and eventually the palace. They also have a market here. Explore the town. There's plenty of things in there. The market of Versailles is absolutely amazing. There's a place called the Jeu de Paume, the Royal Tennis Courts, absolutely amazing as well. So basically, spend your day here and go and visit everything. And the biggest mistake that everyone does here is going in the morning in the palace. You do not want to be in the palace in the morning. You'll find 1 trillion people in there,
Right.
kind of trampling over you.
So we're going to be there for evening.
We'll be in the evening, yeah. So pretty much the latest you enter the palace, the better.
Right.
The later, the better.
Okay,
honestly,
there you go.
the palace is open until 6:30, and the gardens are open until 8:30. So I'd say your best move would probably to enter the palace at 4. So start going to the garden first, go to the Trianon first, and eventually end your trip with the palace. Enter at 4, and when you're done, train station is just in front of the palace, and you can go back to Paris and enjoy wine.
I say onwards to the picnic. And do you mind if I grab you a couple times later in the day for a few more
Yeah, no,
conversations?
I'll be fine. Yeah, absolutely. Whenever you want.
Right. We're walking at the moment along the Grand Canal.
Mm-hmm.
Much grander than the Canal Saint-Martin in Paris, I'd say.
Yeah, much bigger.
But so what we're doing, we're just having a picnic, eating some of the food that we bought in the markets at Versailles.
Yeah, munching on the cherries.
Cherries, 10
Yeah, I
euro
feel
cherries.
yeah, it's kind of opulent, decadent.
You feel a bit like Marie Antoinette.
Yeah, I do.
You know what made me feel a bit like Marie Antoinette?
What?
Getting that
Was
6
it like
beignet.
crinoline? Oh,
So when we were getting when we were in Giverny, we got croissants, but this time we got a baguette, a tradition, which is a little fun language tip that I've done on this show before. Don't get a baguette, get a tradition, tradition.
they're always much better.
Tradition. Yeah, much better.
Why
much
do you
better.
even make baguettes?
For tourists.
No.
Yeah, for tourists, just for the tourists.
Stop
I don't
it.
know. But when we got beignets, which are kind of like little donuts without the holes in them. They can't imagine
It's
they're
like
the whole
of the donut.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe that's how people sell them. I don't know. But they came. You buy 5 for €2, and they come in a little paper bag. And I said to the woman, "Can I trust you that there are 5 in that?" I was kind of kidding with her. And then she went to open it, and I was like, "No, I trust you."
It was a joke. It was
yeah.
a terrible joke.
And then she goes, "No, I just wanted to put an extra beignet in there for you."
That's
so she's
so
trying
sweet.
to plump me up like a fat Versailles turkey, headed for the guillotine. Anyway, what are your first impressions, Lena, of Versailles?
Oh, it's just so big.
It is big, isn't
So
it?
big. Not just the palace. The palace is like it's a good sized palace, as far as palaces come. But there is the grounds.
Well, our
The
guide
grounds are massive.
Thomas,
Toma?
said that it's the biggest palace grounds in the world.
Well, there you go.
Not the biggest palace, that's somewhere in Asia,
Yeah.
but the biggest palace grounds. And we've already cycled across sort of the back half of it. So the Trianon, the Petit Trianon, and the Grand, is that what it is? The Grand Trianon?
Yeah.
Where all the, Napoleons and Marie Antoinettes lived and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I glossed over the history there. But it's really beautiful. On a warm and nice day like this, a lot of people are out in the garden picnicking.
It's busy, but it's not too busy. And also, I think biking here is the way to do it.
Well, if you're going to get anywhere. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's so enormous.
It's
but-
so big.
To paint a little picture, there's people rowing in the Grand Canal.
Hmm.
There's big fish popping up. There's swans. And there's a lot of picnickers
Yes.
Perfect place for a freshly squeezed orange juice.
Yeah, of which we had a liter. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's
And
a
that's
lot.
probably why we're walking to the toilet. So we'll check back in with you guys soon.
Okay, bye.
Thomas,
Yeah.
this is quite romantic. We're by the side of the Grand Canal.
Yeah.
If I hadn't just met you, it could be the most romantic podcast I'd.
Yeah, well, we try to have that. We bond with people at a little place called the Temple of Love in the hamlet of Marie Antoinette. So, yeah, I've got a good connection.
I
You
thought
can
there
meet
was
people
romance
here.
in the air.
Yeah, you can meet people here.
What I wanted to ask you was a bit of a different question here, Thomas. Imagine that for some reason, I know you're French,
Yeah.
but for some reason you're getting kicked out of France.
Yeah.
You're getting sent to South Africa.
Yeah.
Because I think you have a slight South African accent, even though I know you're French,
Yeah.
right? So you're getting kicked there, it's your last day, and the authorities say, Thomas, we know you love Versailles. We're going to let you go back to see one thing. You can't tour the whole thing, you can see one thing to remember for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
That's a tough question. There's so much to see here, but I got to go with the hamlet of Marie Antoinette. Just at the back of the Trianon is a tiny place. It looks like a nomadic village. Marie Antoinette was a queen who was tired of all that fancy royals kind of day-to-day thing. She didn't want to have all of these people around her, so she built like a fake village. I don't know if you've seen the TV show Westworld, but that's pretty much exactly what it is.
Right.
It's pretty much her in the middle of a fake village with people pretending they're peasants, so she can kind of have an idea of what a normal life is. And this is a magical place with pretty much no one around.
Right. So what do you like to do when you go there?
I like to go around the actual hamlet. It's a little animal farm. It's run by an association that rescue animals. The animals are absolutely the cutest. There's always little baby goats, baby geese. There's the fattest pig you've ever seen. It's just a magical place, and
You've
just
not
relax.
seen my brother.
Well, yeah, we have a lot of pigs here as well.
That's okay, my brother doesn't
Yeah.
listen. You can do it.
That's fine. But yeah, it's just lovely over there. It's just so quiet. You arrive at Versailles the first thing in the morning. You see everyone crowding the palace, and then you find this little safe haven when there's nothing there that is gonna go in the way of you relaxing. Just even sitting there, walking around is just awesome. So I would definitely go there.
Well, I appreciate that answer, Thomas, and I'm looking forward to this evening's entertainment.
I hope you like it. Yeah.
Well, before I let you go, I wanted to ask you something I just remembered. I did facts at the start of this episode. Mine was that there's around 2,000 windows here. Can you confirm that?
There are actually 2,153 windows to be exact.
2,153.
Just me showing off.
Well, my statistic was if you assume it takes 30 seconds to appreciate looking through a window, it will take you 6 weeks to look through all the windows here.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. Yeah, and keep in mind that what you see in Versailles, as crazy as it looks, there's so many things that you see. You're only seeing half because they don't even open the entire thing.
Wow.
They don't have the staff. So there's plenty of hidden gems here and there, plenty of secret ways. There's an entire opera completely hidden in the palace.
Really?
Yeah, they don't use it for tourists simply because there's still shows there, so they can't afford to show it to people.
Is
So
that
there's
the
so
one that
many
was
things.
in the movie, the Marie Antoinette movie with Kirsten Dunst?
Yeah. The opera was built by Louis XV, so by the time Marie Antoinette's here,
Louis
That's it.
XV. I call him the Fun King.
the Fun King,
Yeah.
exactly, the party dude.
What? And the last thing I want to check on my wife's fact.
Yeah.
She said that Marie Antoinette had 500 pairs of shoes.
She had a lot of shoes, a lot of dresses. She was spending a ton of money. The people of France call her Madame Deficits.
Oh,
So she was gambling, she was buying new shoes, she's buying new clothes all the time. So, yeah, your wife's really right.
The French didn't like her then.
Not really.
No.
Not really. No. She was pretty much the scapegoat of the time.
Right.
And it makes sense. Everyone's starving, and meanwhile she goes shopping. So
Did it turn around though? I know we got to get on the bikes again, but quick question: did it turn around that people ended up liking it? Like today, when people say the name Marie Antoinette, are people still like, oh, she ruined France, or they, you know?
well, we try to explain to people what exactly happened, and I kind of sympathize with her because yeah, sure, she was paying a lot of money, she was not caring about the people, but on the other hand, she was a foreigner, and everyone blamed all the problems they had on her. It's easy to blame everything on the foreign queen,
Right.
And eventually people still see her as the bad girl, but I feel like once you get into the story, the way we explain the story as well, people start kind of sympathize with her.
Well, I empathize with her as an expat.
Yeah, exactly.
She was
there
just
you
an
go.
expat doing her best.
She was trying to do her best. She never asked to be in the position.
No.
So I feel like people at the end of a tour or at the end of the movie Marie Antoinette, at the end of a book, start feeling kind of bad for her.
Yeah. Okay, to the bikes.
To the bikes, let's go.
So you're hearing the Palace of Potholes. What you're hearing is the first ever podcast recording from a bicycle at Versailles with a husband and wife combination.
Who's Swedish and Australian.
So you're listening to unique stuff here. Hang on, it looks like we're going into the woods. I'll be back. Hey Lenny, quick question.
Yeah.
Do you know if it's un verre or une verre?
I don't know.
Doesn't matter. Bonsoir. 2 verres de vin rouge, s'il vous plaît. The old trick. C'est un verre ou une verre?
Un verre.
Un verre. C'est un verre.
Like the station?
Un verre.
Un verre.
So where we are now
This is before the wine, guys.
we're just having a pretty cool experience. We're just having a glass of, one glass of red wine so far outside the Palace of Versailles,
Yes.
closed to the greater public.
After hours.
Yeah, and it seems to be running out of wine, but that's okay.
That's okay.
And we're about to go and watch the fireworks show.
I'm very excited.
So Lena,
Oliver.
once again, it's the end of the day, it's the end of the tour.
Yes, it
You and
tends to
I-
go that way.
You and I are walking. It's pretty special, actually. Let's
is.
paint a little picture. The sun is low. We've got a plastic goblet of Saint-Emilion.
2016.
Yes, 2016 red wine. One could say that we're talking as if we've already drunk the wine, but that's not the case.
I know, I think I don't know what it is. This is atmosphere. We're drunk on atmosphere.
I think so too.
Yes.
And what I'd like to add as well is I'm very grateful for Thomas because he provided the gravitas and the depth to this episode that you and I were sorely lacking as usual.
Okay, so we are free to add the fluff.
Exactly.
Well, I'm happy about that.
But I thought we'd add a little bit
I
of.
feel competent enough to do that.
I thought it's almost like we were built for it.
I know.
I thought we'd add a bit of a sort of a thought of what we've seen.
Yes.
Now I hope that you guys are following along on social media because I did a live Facebook video about
With the dance performance
Yeah.
in the Hall of Mirrors.
what a treat.
What a treat.
So the deal is
Also slightly confusing, but really, really good.
well the thing is they closed off the Palace of Versailles except for 250 people, and they're doing that every Saturday of the summer.
Yeah.
And the idea is, maybe you guys can hear that classical music in the background as the fountain shows begin. We're out in the sort of the back garden.
This is magical. Someone's blowing soap bubbles.
Let's
The
walk towards
sky is kind of like, Miami Vice colored, like 80s sky.
People keep looking at us funny because we're walking along with a microphone
Yeah.
and 2 glasses of wine.
I know.
But so what they did is we sort of filed through the entire Palace of Versailles rooms that are open to the public, and we sort of went really quickly through them, stopping off at several of the key rooms along the way to see shows essentially. So there was fencing at the end. There was and they were all
It was
dressed
like
up.
a walk show.
It was
It was like one of your walk
It
shows,
was a
but
little bit.
way more extravagant.
It was amazing.
It
And so
was very
the main
good.
one that you guys may, I hope, have seen on Facebook and probably YouTube by this point was maybe 8 people dressed up and dancing to music from 4 other
Classical
people.
music.
It was absolutely wonderful. So I encourage you guys to go and check
It
that
was
out.
great, and then they finished it off with a fencing performance, the courtyard, which
Yes.
was very close to my heart because I took fencing when I was a young girl,
Yeah.
as you do.
The less said about that, the better. That career never took off, did it? But what we're gonna do now is we're
It's a
gonna
stab in the dark.
we're gonna walk down towards the Grand Canal, down the main steps here. Like Lena said, there are soap bubbles everywhere. I don't know what's going on there. And in the distance, we can see the fountains. It looks to me, is that smoke or is that?
It's just I don't know.
I won't go on, guys. We'll give you a little review and maybe take some pictures to put on Instagram about these fireworks. But what I wanted to do before I round off is I wanted to remind you guys, specifically, if you want to do this fat tire tour that Lena and I have done today, it's the sunset tour with the fireworks. It's every Saturday only. It runs until the end of summer 2019, which I hope is when you're listening to this. And if you book using the code EARFUL at the checkout, you get an extra 10% off.
A nice chunk of change.
Which, well, I think the tour is 130 euros. So if you're coming even by yourself, you'll be saving a good bit of money. They'll find out that this partnership is working, which is very important to me. And I assume it's very important to them too. So guys, get booking. But besides this,
everybody wins.
They're turning up the music. I guess it's all starting to start. But not just that, they do a lot more trips out to Versailles. I don't have the information at the top of my head, but I know they do a lot more tours here, morning tours during the week. It's not just this Saturday one that I'm doing. You guys should check it out. It's a good way to see Versailles. As for us, red wine and fireworks.
I think that sounds like a splendid idea.
Onwards and upwards.
On y va.
Fireworks done. It was fantastic, and now
we went out with a bang.
And we're walking on the way back to the train station now. Make your own way home with
trying to find a station
with a head full of ideas.
Yes.
And I thought I'd end with Lena. What was your favorite bit of this the entire day?
Well, I have to say that I think my favorite part of the day was towards the end. It was seeing the palace and the garden at sunset, when everything, like all the colors are muted, everything turns very soft and the lamps go on. I think that's really beautiful.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I liked being in the rooms when they were doing the dancing as well. I thought it was pretty cool. I felt like it was a movie
that was very special.
For people who I realized at the start of the episode I didn't say who you were, Lena. You're my wife.
Oh, hi.
Lena's my wife. If you're new around here, Lena's been on the show a bunch of times, especially when I can't find a guest.
Unlike the classic stand-in person.
Yeah. Or when we were on the honeymoon season. And I roped her into coming along on this trip with me, as I did in the Giverny episode. But the fireworks that Lena mentioned, I just want to say something I haven't talked about properly for a long while. Is I filmed the whole thing for Patreon supporters. Usually I do the walk shows, but I figured I'd explain it a little bit Patreon before I finish. There are people who become members of the Eiffel Tower. The idea is they pay a weekly subscription, and it's essentially the reason why this show exists. Thanks to those guys, there are 250 members at the moment. I met up with a bunch of them in recent weeks, and as far as I'm concerned, they're the greatest people on earth. So if you want to join that group, you will make me eternally grateful. Patreon.com/The Eiffel Tower. And just like that, we've turned the corner. I see the Versailles station. Okay, we're going to cross the road now. But farewell. Thanks for listening, Eiffel Tower listeners. I'll say it one more time. FatTireTours.com. You can get 10% off if you use the discount code EARFUL right there at the checkout. Let them know the partnership is working. Lena, aka at Parisian Postcards on Instagram.
That's me.
Any last words?
Oh, it sounded very threatening.
Yes. Well, I'm about to take you to the guillotine. I know what your last word should be.
Okay.
What did Marie Antoinette allegedly say?
Let them eat cake.
And that is for you guys. We'll talk to you again.
Have some cake.
On Monday. Au revoir.
Bye.